Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex was the original fourth Crash Bandicoot game before Crash 4 made this Crash 4, not Crash 4, and this Crash 4 be part of a new timeline, and this Crash 4 be part of an alternative reality where all the characters were copper-lined action figures. Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex was the fourth made Crash game. God damn it! This game, Traveller's Tales made this game. The Crash trilogy was a major success on the original PlayStation, with their strong graphics and gameplay that didn't age like unalcoholic grapes. Naughty Dog had managed to produce a new game annually for 4 years, but with the gaming deals at an end, another team was needed to make a new game. What team would do the task? The developers Traveller's Tales, known for their killer games like Toy Story, and Sonic 3D Flicky's Island. Oh, they also made Mickey Mouse. Did they do a good job with Crash? Well, there's a lot to say. The game has you as Crash and Coco going through 5 sets of warp zones in order to gather 25 crystals in order to stop Cortex from taking over the world. Universe. Yeah, it's not really explained that well in the intro. It's the same 2 of the previous games, but how 4 differs is the addition of 4 new masks. The Elementals. Can you guess what they do? Each of the Elementals controls different elements, and Cortex instantly uses them to screw over the Bandicoot, which of course sets off the plot of the game. Once you're in the hub world, you get introduced to your main protagonist Crash Bandicoot. You also get introduced to your main antagonist, Crush Bandicoot. Crush is a concept that is surprising that the franchise never tried before this, considering that Crash was originally supposed to be the leader, the frontman for Cortex's army, and seeing the successful attempt is quite nice. So getting into the game, it's apparent that it's based off of Crash Warped, as it has you using the time twister in order to get to each stage again. Each section of the hub world contains 5 stages with a boss at the end. Because it's all set out, it does mean you have the freedom to tackle through each stage how you want. Because of how it's all set out, it does mean you have half freedom with going throughout the game, as you're all required to play through each stage, but you get to pick the order in which those stages are played in. This type of stage progression has been used in every game since the second, as even games like Bash gave you options through having a couple of mini games to play through before doing a boss. Going on to the actual game, the moveset is the same as Warped. There's a spin, jump, sliding long jump, and the ground pound. Yes, I know that's not its name. Each level consists of you running down hallways while collecting the crystals. It's the same formula as the other games have done. But instead of easing in those past mechanics, the Wrath of Cortex instead understands that for a lot of people, this will not be their first game of the series, and so it doesn't waste any time pulling out nitros, TNTs, reinforced crates, roulette boxes, and there's probably more as well. The game overall feels a lot more fast paced with how it introduces stuff, and even Crash himself just being faster and more athletic, with his base walk speed feeling around the same speed as Warp's run shoes. Now with all that pre-existing stuff out the way, we can talk about the new stuff that the game introduces. The game introduces new vehicles, a crate, and a whole ass new move. I'll go over each addition from least important to most. The first new thing that the game has is the invisibility crate. Simply walk into it and you'll become invisible for a set amount of time. I don't think it does anything else. Remember the Pura stages where you play as Coco? Well, she's given a much bigger playable role in the game, as she gets a moveset similar to Crash's. I'll go over each vehicle separately, just like I did with the gadgets in the Apescape video, mostly basing the order off of how they're presented in the manual. The Firefly and the Space Fighter. So remember those plane stages in Crash Warped? Well, this is basically the Wrath of Cortex's version of that idea. You gun down miscellaneous things in order to finish the stage. Fun fact, from my knowledge, this is the only stage in the game where you can't finish the stage without grabbing the crystals, since it's given to you once you've taken down the last ship. The Copter Pack. So remember those jetpack sections from Cortex Striked? Well, these are pretty much the same thing, but I actually have to say that it is better in this game. Not in the way of the controls, but in more as in you have more space, as repeatedly in Crash 2 I would find it hard to actually move due to how cramped those corridors were in the stages. The Jeep. So remember those... You know it's close enough to be considered original. It's a car, you drive it. And that's if you could even handle the controls. Cause I can't. The Snowboard. Fuck yeah! Scooter. The scooter isn't like the other vehicles, and instead of, say, it giving you an extra playstyle or, say, a new move, instead it's used as well as a visual change, as it's only ever used in chase sections where you only need to be able to jump and run. Same goes for the snowboard. I just want to make the joke. So, I think I'm starting to see a pattern now. So you know the water shooting thing that you got in War? Now imagine that, but it plays majorly worse due to not having a dash and being big and bulky. Mech. Now we actually have something entirely new and relevant. The mech is the vehicle that's used the most in the game, as it was meant to be used to fight the final boss, and it's even used to fight the third boss against Crunch. Now what did it do to around being so heavily used? The red mechs can shoot water and are used in boss fights, and the yellow mech can shoot Womp Fruit. It is very basic and I don't like it. I'm so glad it was useless. The Atmosphere. See, the Atmosphere, I'm just going to go a little tyrant. The Atmosphere is such a cool idea for a thing, when you think about it, because it's monkey balls, and everybody likes monkey ball, don't they? Well, it's the Atmosphere. This has a cool as hell design. It's based off of 3D modeling softwares, because the workspace that you do it in is called the Atlas. And if you look at the rotating tool, he is in the rotating tool. I'll barely ever see any games talk about actual computer stuff, and then this is one of them. I love it. I really do. It's really small. The final thing I could talk about would be the power-ups. There's 6 in total, 5 collected after each boss is defeated, and 1 found in the bonus room. The reoccurring ones play the same as they did prior. I don't feel the need to go over them, because we both know I'll get to doing reviews on the original trilogy eventually. About that new move, it's a worse walk. The tiptoe gets unlocked after the first boss and grants the ability to walk on top of some nitros. Not all nitros, some. I mean, it's something. Boring as hell, but it's still something. The presentation of the Crash games were always super impressive for their hardware, considering of how other 3D platformers at the time normally looked like chunky meshes of assets, or fake pre-rendered shit. Crash was something that could rival the looks and speed of pre-rendered CGI, while also having the depth of true 3D. This was all thanks to its immaculate optimization allowing little loading screens and a consistent 30 FPS throughout. Does this get translated well into the next generation? I'd say it is. The game's graphics look good and smooth, and the particle effects look incredible. The game's art direction seems to be trying to emulate the latter PS1 games, like Warped or Team Racing, with its saturated texture and the focus on key points over in-betweens. Sharp over smooth, and I believe it looks good overall compared to the other early 8th gen games. But one issue I can find with it is the frame rate inconsistencies. Now I play this mainly on Xbox, but I have looked at GameCube footage and it looks like it only ever runs at half the frame rate of the other versions. It might not be, but something I can protest to is the lag of the game. The GameCube version definitely lags a lot more than the Xbox, as whenever the game loads something, a frame seems to drop. And the reason why this is so bad, Rumper Fruits. Rumper Fruits are everywhere, so that means you will never be able to run at a full speed, which, it's important for a platformer to have, because, you have to be walking, you have to be jumping, you have to time everything right, so having an inconsistent frame rate does actually mean a lot. And that is why the original games felt so good, and this, kinda not. I've intentionally left some of my thoughts until now for a reason. Those thoughts are that the game suffers from what I'll call unnecessary substance. Now what does unnecessary substance mean? Well, it's a product that's being released without an obvious purpose. The reason why the Cortext falls into it, in my opinion, is how many of its core ideas are ripped straight out of Crash 3, down to its movement, power-up and stage themes, and those few original elements are such nothings additions or ultimately just bog down the experience. And that just begs the question, why play Crash 4 if there's an infinitely more original version of that game released 2 years prior? Well, that was an experience. Would I say that the game is bad? No, it's quite good, if anything. It's just... There's better things you could play, it's good for a £5 game, but anything more? Meh. If you're gonna play it, get the Xbox version, it's quite cheap. The PlayStation 2 version, from what I've seen online, It's £15. Don't get that one. Get either the Xbox or the GameCube version. They run the best. And they don't have that much load times, and you can play them in widescreen. It's a £5 game. Get it.